Hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome to the Spell Brigade, which is, I'm pretty sure, at least in part inspired by the Shadow Wizard Money Gang meme. I'm not entirely sure of that, it just gives off those vibes. Anyway, it is a cooperative bullet heaven with friendly fire, which I'm not going to be experiencing today as I'm going to be playing solo, but the idea of playing with these games where you can actually, like, nuke your friends actually sounds kind of amusing to me. So we're just gonna dive in and see how it goes as far as, like, regular bullet heavens go and make it work. I do like the kind of doofy wizard look I've got going on here. Okay, so what do we got? Spell damage, EXP gain. Okay, so basic, fairly basic, bullet heaven upgrades, at least so far, just percentile damage boosts. I'm curious to see where it goes. It also looks like we only have 4 weapon slots, so that's going to be maybe something interesting to play around with. I don't know, I used to always want, like, more options, but the more I play games in this genre, the more I'm like, yeah, actually, no, keeping it limited isn't bad. So base damage by 5%, spell damage, can I reroll? Okay, it looks like you can reroll at least once. Increases luck by 6. What's luck do? Luck is always one of those stats that's kind of hard to work around, because either it does something really interesting, you know, increases the rarity of all of your upgrades, or more drop rate for, like, cool perks and whatnot. Or it's, yeah, I mean, really it's the question of, does it do those things, or is it just kind of like a basic, oh, you get a little bit more money, maybe. I'm assuming it increases the rarity of the upgrades that I'm going to be getting here. I say that, but it doesn't happen. I could go for Astral Orbs 3. Decrease spell cooldown. Oh, but that's only for my Astral Orbs. Yeah, it looks like you get 1 reroll per round. Pick up distance by 24%. I'll take that. It's not a particularly great thing, but once we start getting surrounded by large quantities of enemies, then we'll actually have to care about it a little bit more. I like the visual style. It's pleasant. It's kind of that, like, not quite low poly, but soft 3D look. That gives it just a little bit more personality. Too many of these games are just pixel art, and I don't necessarily hate pixel art for bullet heavens, but I feel like it's overdone. How did I describe it? I saw a video from Design Delve a couple days ago about cargo cults, and it's kind of been on my mind, specifically in regards to this, new spell. Necro Whirl, large energy zones that deteriorate anything within. Energy field around you that damages nearby enemies, or a hex bomb. Explosive orb behind you that damages. So I think I like either of these. This one, large energy zones that kill anything within slowly, versus just garlic. Let's go for Necro Whirl. It sounds vaguely interesting enough, and I might be able to... Wait, oh, I can hit myself with that. When it mentions friendly fire, I am included in this. Oh, baby. Okay, so that actually makes this a lot more dangerous for me. All right, I dig it. Actually, the idea of having to be afraid of my own attacks does introduce a level of spice. I will say it's negative spice, but the question of, like, how do you work around that can actually make it much more interesting, potentially. Anyway, so I guess realistically, I don't want to take away too much of the content out. Base crit damage. It's crit damage though. If it was crit chance, I think I'd care more. The other problem is I do not actually know what my stats are. I think that is actually a bit of an issue. I would love to be able to see somewhat of a verbose, like, hey, your crit chance is already 10%. You're going to need, you know, another 90 if you want to have 100% crit chance. Not being able to see my own stats is not necessarily bad, but I feel like it's actually counterproductive for bullet heavens. Namely from the perspective of, these are games about specifically optimizing your build, and if you don't have the tools to fine-tune control or, like, observe that kind of stuff, it's a little rough. Let's see. Base move speed by a little bit. I think I'm gonna go for the luck, though. Okay, so, not to spoil too much of the contents of the video, a cargo cult is effectively repeating the process of something that was successful before in hopes of replicating that success. It was specifically inspired by like Islander tribes that were trying to recreate, I think it was American World War II military bases. Again, not clear on the details behind it because I was only half paying attention because I was in another room. But they were effectively trying to recreate American military bases so that they could get the supplies that the American military was giving them while the American military was on those islands. Spell duration by a little bit. It's probably my best, but let's reroll. I like more generic upgrades. And going for some more crit chance isn't a bad idea. But yeah, so they were trying to recreate American military bases to get, well, the supply drops, effectively. That if they recreated everything with, like, wood and other supplies to make it look like there's an American military base there, then maybe supply planes will come by and drop resources off, even though, you know, the war's over. Nobody's going to be dropping anything off ever again unless something else happens in the area. And so, obviously there's probably a better deconstruction than that if you do want to get, like, a better idea of it, but functionally it is recreating something else's success without actually thinking about how or why, or even understanding how or why it might have been a success in the first place. Do we want to just do spell cooldown? Let's go for the spell cooldown. I don't think we need the damage at the moment. And now that I've actually got the terminology behind such a behavior, I've kind of come to realize that, like, yeah, a lot of games, just in general, very much are kind of following that cargo cult process. And I wonder if it's actually, well, I mean, I think it's just part of human nature. You see something that was successful and you want to recreate it. How many different stories virtually just recreate some degree of Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or, you know, so on and so forth. Even on, like, a personal level, decreased spell cooldown, 25%. Alright. We should try and actually get some of these spells up higher tiers, see if there's overclock upgrades or something of the sort. Okay, locate the creature. Oh, before it escapes. Objective failed. I didn't even realize that we had an objective. Sorry, I was in my own head for a bit there. Wow, the reduced cooldown is actually really good. I'll have to pay attention to the next events better. I don't know. I'm just in places. And so one of my things that I'm kind of coming to grips with a lot of games is just like playing them, how much of this is kind of trying to replicate the success of a prior game. And so to go back to the kind of original topic of pixel art with these games is that in a lot of cases, hey, do we want to just keep reducing the cooldown on Necro Whirl? Because again, I can't see my statistics, but it feels like I might actually be able to get that to be so short we're actually, like, banging out multiple in short order. And that could actually be really dangerous. Like, I guess on a personal level, it would amuse me to no end if it actually got to the point where it's unsafe for me to walk because too many of my AoE circles are just going down. But so, when it comes to pixel art in Bullet Heavens especially, oh, it's probably a healing potion. Which could actually be another... Okay, nope. Didn't actually hurt me. I am shocked. It got me though. Yeah, we should get some movement speed up in this. If we can. Increase EXP gain, increase size. Let's reroll. I like the idea of EXP gain, but it's kind of okay. I'm also not noticing crits. Oh, it's because the crits don't actually have a different color. The crits are just the same color as every other attack. Oh, I must have gotten shot there. Maybe. I'm not sure if the crits are applying... No. I did see a 60 damage tick on one of those shots. Or on the AoE, so that is critting as well. But I would love to see that at least be a slightly different color so I can identify that, yes, I'm in fact critting often. Okay, spell duration, dodge chance by 12%. Oh, seal the rift, locate the rift and seal it. But I'm actually going to have to find it. Oh, it's over here. There's a little marker for it. The problem is I'm also kind of slow. Yeah, we definitely need to invest a little bit into speed. So let's see what this gets us. Unfortunately, my character isn't exactly what I would call a bastion of defense. And so, in fact, I've died. Oh well, it's fine. Oh, yeah, I'm back. I'm back? Yeah, the problem is I have no stopping power. And this is a lot of enemies. I'm pretty sure there's a meta progression system, but I might also just not be rolling with good enough equipment. Let's see. Spell cooldown on Necro Whirl. Let's just do spell cooldown on the shot. It is my goal to complete this objective if I can before I die. Nope. But I'm back again? How many lives do I have? Oh, I had 3. You can tell on the top. Okay. Leave behind a trail that damages anything within. Energy field around you damages enemies or moon. Let's go for Rocky Road. I've got a lot of enemies just following me around, and it seems like Rocky Road it seems very practical and safe. Potentially. We could snake ourselves to death. So did we not get any unique abilities or upgrades for clearing that? I saw a bunch of purple orbs pop up, but that was about it. Ow. Yeah, no, doesn't look like we got anything unique for that. Okay, well, I guess I might as well finish my thing about, oh, we did actually hit ourselves with a rock wall. Finishing my thing about cargo cults, specifically with pixel art, that a lot of bullet heavens just think, well, Vampire Survivors got away with having pixel art for its artwork, so we too can have kind of shoddy pixel art. Spell damage, max health, cooldown. That's base cooldown for everything, which would be nice, except for it doesn't help with Rocky Road that much. Oh, damage rate by 10%. Okay, so maybe that is affected by spell cooldown. That'd be lovely if that's the case. It probably isn't, though. And in general, it's interesting with all of these that it often feels like many games that I feature. Let's see. Base cooldown. It does this effect. I don't know. I would love an indicator of this affects all of these spells or only one of these spells, if that makes sense. So like if these would highlight if you're picking them up. And yeah, if there was like a verbose stat mode, so you could actually see like, yeah, this increases this thing's tick rate by 6%, as well as these, you know, these abilities cooldowns. But without any kind of like indication, there's literally no way for me to tell. Now I'm probably gonna get cooked here just because I'm very much not strong enough. And we're kind of ripping through them. I'll be able to get some health here. Say as I walk into an enemy attack, it's fine. Let's see, spell size by 10%. Now let's keep going for that spell damage rate. I do actually really like the Rocky Road. I think even compared to the damage over time auras, I'm actually not sure what's better. I think the Necro Whirl is the better spell in terms of damage per second. Man, what I would give for a DPS meter on a game like this too. Okay. Do we want to just... Because I'm not really making a whole lot of... Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I wasn't making a whole lot of headway. Let's see if I get some meta progression for this. Well, we got some gold. I was playing as Reginald. Let's see how it goes. So the rest of these are locked by challenges, so we can go here. Enhancements. So increase damage, increase health, increase movement speed, which is probably very helpful. Luck, which is higher rarity loot, so I was right about that. And cooldowns of all spells so they recharge faster. I just do not know if that applies to other things. So these are challenges to unlock new characters, realms, spells, and... Oh, upgrade tier 2. Is it... Oh, it's these. And then these are missions. Okay, so why don't we... Honestly... I'm gonna go for 4% move speed. I think that's probably the most immediately valuable. I do feel like the meta progression is kind of unnecessary, but that might also just be kind of a me thing. I don't know. Meta progression is weird. It's like a hit and miss thing. Once again, cargo cult. Yeah, maybe we do actually go kind of hard with these attack spells because they actually do a decent amount of damage. I think I'll stay away from the rock thing. I think we want to go for the damage aura or the rock trail on the same run. Armor by 4. Well, the enemies hit me for like 150, so I don't actually know how good that is. Let's go for a reroll, see if I get something rare. Decrease spell cooldown? Yeah, let's go for it. Because yeah, I bet I could get my spell cooldown on these orbs actually pretty low to the point where I'm spitting hot death. Probably. But yeah, cargo cults and like meta progression and a bunch of other things. A lot of developers see games with heavy meta progression and they think, oh, okay, so we got to stack in meta progression on top of everything else. We've got to have dodge chance. Oh, that's why I was randomly taking 0 damage. I like the idea of it, but we're just going to go spell cooldown. I just want to see if I can get these orbs to just be spitting. Because those enemies were getting kind of tough by the end of it. Yeah, see if I can go for like a really heavy projectile build. So there isn't like really a specific... I don't think there's a whole lot of upgrades that apply to, you know, just projectiles. It's much more broad, which I like. I don't really like unit, or how to describe it. I don't really like unit family upgrades because they tend to be kind of boring. It's just like, ooh, short range, highly concentrated magical sword. Let's give that a shot. Okay, looks like it works off of a cooldown system. It's kind of a nice sweep. I don't know if I'm going to like it compared to the regular attacks, but it also does a decent amount of damage. So, like, with this, we don't need to invest too hard into base damage at the moment. Though it does seem like some of the tougher enemies do go down in, like, 3 or 4 or 5 hits. So, some amount of damage is not a bad idea. Spell size increased my luck. It's only a 2. My one fear is like a luck of 2 is literally just like a 2% increase. At which point, is it worth investing into? And I don't know on that one. And I'd have to do like a bunch of runs to actually make a judgment call in that direction. The one thing, ow. The one thing I'm noticing, I don't want to say right off the bat here, but it does fall into some of the infinite scaling trap. That can be good. You know, I like infinite scaling. I actually think infinite scaling is... That's reroll. If it's all commons, I reroll and hope for something better. And if I don't get something better, we just pick the next best thing. I don't mind infinite scaling as a core basis for like a lot of bullet heavens. I think you can do some really goofy builds with that. The only immediate problem is that they don't really build much of an identity either. That you need some really unique or interesting upgrades beyond just cooldown reduction and whatnot. Because every single infinite scaling game has that kind of thing. Complete the sacrifice, kill monsters within. Alright, let's go snag that. Let's see. EXP gain. I could go for the luck. Yeah, let's just go for the size. Yeah, every single infinite scaling game is going to have plus damage, cooldown reduction, increased size, whatnot. And, you know, there absolutely is space to do some, like, really silly things, like, Okay, the one problem is, I'm actually playing Keep Away and keeping them out of the fight circle. Which is not great if I want to get those kills. I think we'll be fine. But still. But yeah, the way to make this really work is to have upgrades that do like weird things. You know, even basic stuff like adding a ricochet, split shot. I don't know, summon a ghostly image of a monster. I guess the easiest way to describe it would be actually like just talk about the is it spell damage on the sword. Like, it's tempting to go for this sword. Yeah, does it just give me a whole boatload of experience every time I do one of those? That's okay. Increase armor by 9, I'll take that. Okay. But so, like, Risk of Rain is an infinite scaling roguelike. The main difference is that you're only really infinite scaling off of your most basic upgrades. Once you get up to the rarest upgrades, the kind of like red-orange ones or the yellow ones, you can still infinite scale off of those, but they're so rare that you almost never do. And so instead, you're mostly relying on the fact that they have really interesting special effects. Spell cooldown on those swords by 35%. Hell yeah. If I can get that to be really low, we can just have a field of swords around us and we can just Blenderman our way through a lot of things. Yeah, maybe I'll invest a little bit into max health here. It just doesn't feel like it's super necessary, sort of. But so, for like completing these little side quests, I don't necessarily hate them, but also just getting experience off of it feels very unsatisfying. That the reward doesn't really match up with the risk. But if it was something really cool, like it would modify my spell in some way, in like a much more like fundamental manner than just like a percentile bonus. Oh, Titan's Fury is just base damage across the board. So I should actually keep that in mind. I think part of me was just thinking Titan's Fury was the rock path from the last round. But that, I think because of, I mean, especially just my knowledge of like, yes, this is what cargo cults are. One of my biggest, like, constant, I'm gonna say it's a demand, a request, a something. One of my biggest, like, asks of developers, whenever they release a game or are planning on releasing a game, damn it, is very much the question of, like, how does your game kind of escape the bounds of what came before it? You know, what is beyond is just the gimmick. Because, like, gimmicks are fine, but the problem is gimmicks on their own are often a dime a dozen. And to the point where, like, many developers will have the exact same gimmicks as each other. You know, I can't... Ooh. Okay, so we do actually have infusions. So, at 6th level, we've given it fire. I appreciate that. Hopefully there's more than just that one. Because, especially from, like, a roguelike perspective... ooh, actually the fire effect's pretty good. So we might actually want to go for size, if we can get the chance, or choice to do so. It also doesn't sweep often enough that we can actually tell if the fire effect stacks. I'm assuming it's a one-off. So you get a stasis prison and free... Okay. So it does look like it continues to modify the sword. So I like this. So it must have been at least... Oh. Subdue the Elder Crabalon before it breaks free. It's gonna blow up in my face. Got it. Now we just have to survive because I don't have that much health. Let's see, Moonerang, Phantom Blades, Spread of Daggers launched forward or Rune Burst. Stones launched from 4 different directions. I don't know, I kind of like the Moonerang. It seems like it fits with my whole kind of go for sort of projectile shtick. Though it doesn't seem like it's got piercing, it might actually just... Oh no, maybe it does, maybe it's just kind of small. But yeah, I do hope that there are more variety for, like, the T6 upgrades. Do I want that? It's not a bad idea. If I can get this to level 6, it gets its next upgrade. But... Base crit damage by 35%. No, I think I'm going to keep going for the Arcane Broadsword. Because now it's 100% uptime. Ooh, did not notice that was an explodey boy there. Yeah, we might get cooked. I haven't exactly been paying as much attention as I'd like to. I do like the variety of enemy types. that from like a unit silhouette perspective, or unit silhouette, I don't know, just a variety perspective, there is a decent number of them that actually look kind of unique and fun. I do wish some of them had unique movement patterns. That all of them walk at you in the exact same manner, which makes them very easy to avoid. Oops. It's fine, we get extra lives. Holy shit, those crab boys are beef chunk. Also, the Moonarangs are great because at the apex of its arc, it actually hangs there for a while. And so it can actually do like a whole smack of damage if it wants to. I gotta be way more careful than I am. The thing is, I'm like just on the cusp of doing tons of damage here. Please tell me I can have 2 swords. Yes. Okay, so if we keep reducing that cooldown, we can potentially have 2 swords going simultaneously. Ow. Hopefully there's some level of, like, fast healing as well at a later date. Just like a smidge of regen would go a long way. Okay, spell size? Nah, they're all common. It's a rare. Sure. I'm still hoping we can get the, just a little bit more cooldown reduction on these swords. And I also want to see if I can get the sword up to level 12, because that might give us another unique evolution. Ow. Because, yeah, if this actually has an extensive evolution system, that will make it feel much better. 15% damage is good. Ow. Almost got me. Yeah, well, the problem is I have to very much stay kind of at arm's reach for a lot of these guys, and it's making it difficult for me to really kill with the swords. Which is why I should probably be... Oh, no. It's why I should be investing kind of hard into movement speed and some other stuff. Let's go for a cooldown, and we get... Infuses your spell with fire. So now we have 2 fire orbs. Or fire attacks. I do really hope that we unlock more than just that. Or if... Okay. How do I describe that? The one problem with this is now I have two things that effectively have the exact same niche. Namely, this sets an enemy on fire. This also sets an enemy on fire. If the fire status effect does not stack in some way, shape, or form... Yeah, do we want to do spell range? We kind of do. Sure, I'll take it. Seal the rift. Oh, no. Problem is I have no frontal punch. Now, do I spawn it at full health? I do spawn it at full health. Okay. Yeah, there we go. And we get another one. Infuses the spell... This fire spell with fire, creating wildfire. Okay. Well, visuals changed. I like that. I wonder if wildfire... Well, okay, so I think the wildfire and the fire stack in terms of damage, which is good. And it seems like the damage over time is much higher. But if they both do wildfire and that damage does not stack, it kind of becomes moot. Oh no. Hex Bomb Magic Missile. Large magic projectile that pierces through everything. But yeah, if the status effect does not stack, there's kind of no point in having 2 doing the same thing. I'm assuming we're going to get more variety within this, within these, like, evolution upgrades, just because. I mean, there are other elements, at the very least. Let's just do base move speed. Even 4% is helpful. Because, yeah, if I can outmaneuver my enemies better... Did we fail? Did we succeed? I have no idea. Decrease spell cooldown on the swords. Yeah, here we go. I think we still need at least 1 or 2 more of those to really make it work. But if I can have multiple of those chopping, we might actually be able to Blender Man. Which would be a very good thing for me. Let's keep cutting through. But one thing I would love to see is, now that I've unlocked, like, fire as an option, I actually wish there were some specific abilities that would unlock by, like, completing X or Y upgrade goals? Question mark? Effectively, if you have, like, fire as an upgrade. Oh, base cooldown of everything. Sure. You know, say you get ability with fire. That triggers kind of like a, okay, you are now eligible to find fire upgrades. And there might be some kind of fun little random fire upgrades that do cool things. Like, for example, burning enemies that die have a chance to spread burning to nearby enemies. Or, set other nearby enemies on fire or do like a smidge of, like a percentage of that damage to everything nearby. Having little things that kind of branch out and spider out from there would actually kind of be game-changing, is what I'm trying to reach for. At least a little bit. Because my big fear with every single bullet heaven is how much is the run that I'm on going to be different from the next run I will do? And will that be any different from the run after it? How many runs can I do before I've functionally seen everything? And that, you know, any further play is just going to be... Oh, I took a lot of damage somewhere. Should go find some health potions. Spell damage. Because I think that does include the burn as well. I probably got blown up, maybe. This game has kind of a weird obsession with crabs, I'm noticing. Like, everything is kind of crabbish. Ow. It's the explodey guys that are going to cause me the most issues the longer this goes on, just because I'm not going to be able to spot them in the mix. But maybe that's okay. Spell cooldown by a bit? Yes, I must have big sword. Sorry, not big sword, many sword. I would like to have big sword too, and invest further in that direction. Yeah, we've got all sorts of experience that I want to pick up. It's just a little difficult to actually snag some of it. Seriously? Oh, there was an exploder in there. Retrieve the bewitched fungi? I think that's fungi. Spell range, crit chance. I don't know. I guess we'll go spell range on the moon ring. Okay, where is it? Oh, collect the scattered mushrooms. Oh, it's the little blue things all over the place. Other interesting question I would have is... Oh, can't go that direction. If there's an explodey boy, I'm not going to be able to get ahead of it. Can't get there either. Yeah, we just have to loop. At least we've got some level of movement speed to make this a bit easier on me. Okay. Crit chance by 9%, I'll take it. Let's just find some more mushrooms. I do like these random events. I think they are good. I think... I at least like the objectives. It gives you kind of a thing to work towards. However, I'm gonna give a couple of hot takes. One, I still think the reward mechanism is bad. Just a bunch of experience doesn't really mean much. I already get plenty of that from fighting monsters, and so the events actually are almost counterproductive, because I'm spending more of my time not fighting monsters, especially with a melee build, when I, you know, to try and complete these objectives. And I think that works against maybe what the spirit of what this game wants to be. Maybe. I don't know. Namely, I want to reward that is more valuable than the lost experience, or the experience I'm losing. Or at least more interesting. There we go. Objective completed. And so it just being a bunch of experience to the point of actually being less than all the experience I'm just getting from killing all these enemies, it's... There's no merit to it. It doesn't come off as worthwhile. It just feels like I wasted my time for a handful of experience orbs. But if it was something meaningful, like a weird perk, a relic that gives like an extra effect, a universal passive, an extra evolution for a spell, I think those are options. I don't think it has to be that, but I think it could be interesting. You could even add like an itemization system. I mean, we are wizards, we have spells, we've got robes, we've got spell books. You know, make it so that completing those events are how we get like a new robe. And maybe you have like a robe, a staff, and a book. Maybe you already have a robe. Okay, you don't want that. You know, get the staff instead. Oh, you're already full up on gear. Okay, then maybe in that case... Did I take 90 damage? I have no idea. In that case, maybe each and every one of them can be like... each and every one of them can be just like... disenchanted for a decent global passive. An option. But at least it would make it a somewhat meaningful one. I feel like getting the EXP gain at this point is silly and pointless, but didn't want to reroll for garbage. I should probably actually invest a little bit into EXP gain, considering I don't think there is diminishing returns here, as far as experience gain goes. Or there is, but it more or less just keeps the pace of all the orbs, or the extra orbs make up for the fact that there are diminishing returns on how fast I level up or how much experience is required. Ooh, it is dangerous. I don't have that much health. But the thing I was going to say is, I actually really like those randomized events to the point where I might even go so far as to argue it might not be a bad... Ooh, magic missile. No, we're going to go on sword. Because if I get enough cooldown upgrades, we have infinite sword. Okay, and vanquish this guy. I mean, I've already cooked him for a lot of damage. It doesn't seem like he's particularly anything. He just follows me around. Oh no, he definitely does something. He mostly just follows me around, and every once in a while he tries to drop rock on my head. But what I was gonna say is actually maybe make the events constant. As soon as you complete an event, it's on to the next one. Like, if you are gonna have it just be experience-based or, like, minor, reward-based, just make it going on all the time, so you just always have an event to do. And rather than having a time limit associated with them, it's more about, oop. Did I win? Well, I didn't die, so that's probably it. Quest completed. But instead of having a time limit for, like, oh, you know, the event's gonna run out of time. Let's see, let's get the Moonerang. He's got the broadsword. Reduce pickup radius, extra damage to all, and 4 armor. Probably already did that guy, so maybe we do the Moonerang? Yeah, we'll do the Moonerang, see what happens. Oh, did we not get the next level challenge? Really? Oh, perform 5 upgrades. Okay, that's easy enough. Well, here's a question. What's the next cost? Because the movement speed is worth it. As is the fire rate a little bit. Oh, but the cost is universal, so sure, all movement speed. And luck. So, Armor increases your armor so you take less damage, crit damage, or pickup radius. I'll just do those. Okay, do we do anything else? Let's see. So Necro Whirl gets us Cave In. Sun Mage is Solar Pulse. Locations, nothing else. What about spells? Not too much, actually. Yeah, the quests are kind of basic. But if the quests were constantly... Okay, so I guess I should back up and explain a little bit. One of my favorite bullet heavens is Death Must Die. And one of the things that makes it really good is that you are never just fighting monsters. You are actually always constantly finding something to do. Namely, there are these little shrines scattered all over the map that will have various bonuses. Some are like a temporary boon, some are like a small stat gain. Some are just a chest with items in it. But some of them are a little bit rare and very powerful that actually like kind of determine... Well, I guess I'm just going to keep going for experience gain as my first couple upgrades. It's not actually a bad idea, potentially. But so, in Death Must Die, you have these like little shrines that you're constantly hunting for, because if you can get some of the really good ones, like one that guarantees all upgrades are now epic rarity, but you can't get any legendaries. Like, that's a little unfortunate, but on the flip side, that's incredibly powerful. So you don't get the most interesting abilities, but on average, you're going to be much, much stronger than you normally are. And that feels really good to me. But mainly it's the fact that you have these things that you're constantly pursuing, so you're not just standing there, just like kiting around enemies. Because it is worth it killing enemies, that's how you get the experience, but it is more practical for you to be going for these shrines and collecting experience points as you go. And so I think this suffers a little bit from kind of a dead zone situation, where for the most part the only thing I need to do right now is fight monsters. We've tried Rocky Road, I don't hate it. We haven't done Hex Bomb. But I kind of want to get Solar Pulse. Or Necro Whirl again, but let's just do Solar Pulse. It seems practical given what I'm doing. But yeah, so this suffers a little bit from dead zones where you're just kind of running around fighting monsters. I think that's fine in a game like Vampire Survivors, but even then Vampire Survivors has these cool upgrades scattered around the map that you want to get over to. At least in the current version, I really need to go back and just like probably stream a bunch of Vampire Survivors to clear all available content, just for the sake of just having a maxed out save file at some point. But what was I gonna say beyond that? But so it worked in OG Vampire Survivors because it was just the first game of its kind. I mean, yes, I know there was what was it, Arcane Survival or something like that? Like, there was a predecessor to Vampire Survivors. I should not discount that. But it wasn't the trendsetter. Increases spell size by 17%. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can just go, like, all aura here. Moonring will come, but I think I'm gonna just go hard solar for reasons. But if it was one of those where specifically we constantly had events to complete with no time limits, but the faster you complete them, then the sooner the next one pops up. If there's only like a 5%, I guess I'll get the armor. We do take a lot of damage, but if there was only like not a 5%, a 5 seconds delay on like, oh, you completed the event, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, next event pops up. Then you're constantly running from event to event. And okay, fine, maybe there's a time limit just in case one or two of them turns out to be like brutal. But it's fairly forgiving, and the entire point of it is that you're trying to get good enough and fast enough and efficient enough that you're just banging out events constantly for cool permanent awards. To the point where you actually have to be able to win. I think that would make the game... Oh, I just realized I'm gonna go monster dive. Actually, no, we're just gonna quit. I'm a goofus. We had another region I could go to. I don't know why I didn't do it. I think my brain's just elsewhere. Let's see. Frozen Ancients? Sure. This is a short description for this world. It only shows when the world is highlighted in the menu. Yeah, I think the demo for Spell Brigade is available now, if you want to play it yourselves, but yeah, it's going to be out sometime this year. So I've just got, like, super early advanced access to kind of the version I'm playing. I think it is actually coming soon. Now that I think about it, I'll check the email before this video ends. Oh, I like the ice physics. I think that's actually kind of neat. It also is very pretty. Like, the 3D art for this should not be discounted. It looks really nice. Yeah, I'll just go for the EXP gain. I mean, it seems practical enough to get a bunch of experience gain kind of early in one of these. And go from there. But, yeah, if the rewards from events were a little bit more meaningful, like actually stat upgrades, maybe stat upgrades that you cannot get anywhere else. Even to the point of, what if it was upgrades like EXP gain? Take that out of the regular leveling pool and only have it available as part of event rewards, so that you're never choosing between making yourself stronger or making yourself grow faster. And that way, like, every single side quest award is something kind of a little bit more random, like luck gain, experience gain percentage, maybe some level of like survivability, maybe like a weird ability, like, hey, your moonrang also gains split on hit for like the first hit or something like that. Little things like that would kind of go a long way at specifically making the event system at least feel a little bit more meaningful. Spell damage or dodge chance by 9%. You know what? Actually, screw it. We're gonna go for the dodge chance, just in case, just in the off chance I can get my dodge chance up to like 100%. I have no idea what the upper limit is, but would that not be insane? I'm sure there's a maximum, but I have no idea of finding it out. But what I was going to say is I really, really adore the fact that this level actually has terrain. Is this something I need to worry about? Oh, yo. Okay, that's nice. This map actually has some level of terrain. It doesn't really matter for the most part. It is just, you know, ice, you move ice physics-wise. Brambles slow you down. And the geysers explode after a short period of time. That actually feels really nice. Do we want to do magic missiles? Sure. Because I wanted to go for that solar aura, but going for kind of like a hard projectile build wouldn't be bad. Question, options, gameplay? And there's no controls settings. I wanted to see if I could aim, because that actually is very important in these games. I don't mind them being full auto shooters, but in my opinion, I prefer being able to aim at like the best center of mass, because I think usually these, I mean, as far as I can tell with this one, it just aims at the nearest enemy. But that might not entirely be true. Okay, bewitched fungi. As it run for that. One thing I will say is, the ice does slow you down. I almost kind of wish the ice was faster but less controllable. Because as far as I can tell, it just makes it problematic if you're turning, but also slows you down when you're turning. And the answer is no, you should be still going at the regular speed. Your just ability to change direction is worse. Or, because there's less friction, you actually go faster over time. I don't know, I think there's a lot of ways of doing it. I think it's fine enough as is, but I think it would be kind of fun if you'd actually, like, hit the ice at a solid clip. If you'd actually... if you could actually speed across. Because... So, part of the reason why I'm talking about dead zones with this is, this reminds me a lot about Deep Rock Galactic Survivors. from the upgrade system to the evolutions every 6 levels. Like, that clearly is either intentionally or unintentionally an inspiration here. Let's just go for the spell damage. It does need it. And so with Deep Rock Galactic Survivors, 2 things that make it work really well is you're digging to avoid enemies. That there's actually tons of them on screen at all times, but you have to dig to avoid them, and that feels really good. No, I should go for Titan's Fury. I wanted to go for the Moonerang upgrade, but a 15% to all spells is better than a 25% to 1 spell. Somewhat. I guess if I'm going all in on 1 spell, that's not actually true. I don't know. Anyway, so in Deep Rock Galactic Survivors, there's actually tons of enemies, so you can't just cut through them. So you have to constantly be running away, otherwise they're just going to swarm you and kill you. But also within that, there's digging, so you kind of dig like little safety tunnels to get away from enemies. And so that makes it feel considerably more compelling as you're exploring and going through things, because you have to be kind of strategic about the ways that you dig through the environment. Especially because there's also meta progression resources and like mid-run upgrade resources, the gold and nitra, as well as like Apocablooms are side objectives that are going on in the level that you're in. And so you mix all of these together, and all of a sudden there's no dead time, because unless you're extremely good at the game or extremely powerful, you will never be able to see everything in a run, or get every single, like, mine every single resource, grab every single upgrade, kill every single enemy. You just can't. There's too much, and so it becomes this kind of optimization experience of how much can I get before I have to get out. And that feels deeply satisfying. That I find a lot of these games lose. And I would love to see more of them kind of tackle that dead zone. Because it is satisfying waltzing around enemies, like, walking through gaps and whatnot. And, like, finding ways to avoid getting swarmed and whatnot. And so here, I think even the enemies are actually slowed down, which makes the brambles kind of fun. Maybe either that or they're just that slow and it's hard to tell. Increase your luck by 4? Sure. Let's see. But Bullet Heavens that especially figure out how to make the upgrade system interesting and varied, but then also the gameplay the moment-to-moment gameplay much more interesting and varied than other Bullet Heavens are going to be the ones that stand out, and the ones that don't kind of fade into the background a little bit, or a lot. And so I think this one still has the potential added benefit of being multiplayer. How did I get shot? I have no idea. Okay, in the bottom right corner. Pick up distance by 24%. Actually pretty useful here. There's no magnets, so it actually is a meaningful upgrade. That is such an interesting thing, by the way, that, oof. Yeah, the moment you touch the ice, you lose all control of yourself. I might not be able to complete this one. I think I might die if I try. Well, I mean, considering that the only reward is just experience, it's very difficult for me to say that that's worth the risk. So yeah, I'm just gonna go find some potions. I think in general, that's actually the worst side objective, just because you have to stay in an area, and if you get crowded out, because you almost inevitably will, you just die. Or, sorry, not you just die, you fail the objective because it ticks back down again. I don't mind it ticking back down, but it does. Let's see. It does make it less worth completing, especially with the inherent risks. That extra movement speed, though, from the meta progression did make a difference. But I'm still gonna say, playing this multiplayer is probably also somewhat game-changing, because you actually do have to worry about your friends. I want one more Moonerang upgrade, but I'm not willing to just settle for garbage. I swear there was another health potion somewhere, but if there is, it is elsewhere. Yeah, there's surprisingly, there are no abilities with knockback in this. That's an interesting thing. I'd actually, I mean, if I want to talk about upgrades that would pop up as a result of, like, a side quest, you know, don't have many abilities. Yeah, do we want to do Phantom Blades? Sure. Though I think they only fire forwards, which makes them a little bit not great for this. But I'm also probably not going to be using them much. Or upgrading them that much. Okay, magic missiles spell damage by 25%, sure. Boomerang, spell damage by 35%, and fire or lightning. Okay, so there are other elemental effects. It seems like lightning does the... what I was hoping it would, which is specifically its... Let's just scoot through here. It does chain lightning, and a lot of it. Which is kind of what I was hoping for. Magic missile cooldown? Sure. It would be interesting if spell cooldown on the Moonerang actually gave it, actually just made it fly faster. I think that would actually make it worse, though, because you kind of want it to hang time. Oh, no, the bushes do affect the enemies. I like that. Actually feels really good for potentially getting enemies stuck. Because you can kite them around bushes and whatnot. Or just get them stuck in. Base move speed by 12%. Let's go. There's some health. Common upgrade, spell damage by... Yup, that's a big upgrade. Very, very appreciated. Yeah, the game feel on this is nice. I think the big thing is just the boon upgrade rarity system feels kind of eh to me. That it feels like it could be so much deeper and more interesting and varied with minor changes. Personally, I'd actually say... I don't know. Would I say get rid of the scaling rarity stats? No, I think the answer is really it just needs the unique upgrades from, like, completing side quests or something. Just weird extra game-changing things that drop from side quests and mid-bosses, events. We're getting a lot of damage bonus for the Moonerang. Ah, here's the health potions I was missing. And just like that, we're back on track. Okay, let's just scoot around. The one problem with me being this fast is I actually am just, like, so much faster than my enemies now that most of them won't ever catch up. Yep. Yeah, I like the idea of the ice physics. I do think it needs a bit of a revisit. Just because you really do get bogged down trying to move. It's not fun ice physics, it's slow ice physics. Okay, here's a couple. We'll need this last one. But yeah, there's only like 2 purple orbs. Do I want armor? The problem is the enemies hit for like 150, so I would have to get a lot of armor upgrades. Oh, I turned right at the last second and walked right into an enemy. I'd have to get a lot of armor upgrades for it to actually be truly meaningful. The other problem with me moving this fast is the enemies, I think, kind of have a spawn quota system, which I actually think is good. The faster you kill enemies, the more enemies there are going to be kind of on screen. Oof. I'm getting sloppy. At least we still have multiple revives left, so it's not that bad. Okay, Moonerang's spell range. The one question is, does that slow it? Does it increase its speed at all? I have no idea. Oh man, if the Moonerang gets stuck in one of the big guys, that's when it really tops, because there's no cooldown. Like the tick rate on the thing is goofy. I'll just do Solar Pulse. I'm not really predicting it's going to be that meaningful damage-wise. I'll invest in it a little bit. I don't know. I almost kind of wish that there were only 3 abilities. The 4th one, I'm not even using my 3rd. Like, if you're gonna have 4 abilities like this, maybe have it that the character levels up even faster. Because, hell, I haven't even seen the 3rd tier evolution yet. Because the runs just don't go long enough. Like, we get up to level 40 or something, and maybe that's kind of vaguely fine-ish, but... it feels like there's more spells than there need to be, considering the current leveling curve of the game. Yeah, did I want to get this dodge chance up? Yeah, we do. Let's see, crit chance by a bit? Sure. Yeah, I gotta be careful. More careful than I have been. Okay, complete the sacrifice, killed monsters in the circle. It's just up here. That's good. Moonerang spell damage, and we get... ooh. So lightning with lightning to create thunder, or we could do plasma. I'm gonna do plasma. Plasma sounds fun. What does that do? I don't know. Is it kind of like a burn lightning? I'm not... I think actually this was a mistake. No, we are actually still getting the chain lightning effect. So... ow, ow, ow. That hurt. That was bad. Oh boy. Nope, dead. Oh, but it's fine. Alright, grab all that experience. Dodge chance by 12%. That puts us at, like, what? 40? That's actually pretty good. I do kind of wish that the enemies would actually trigger the geysers themselves. Maybe? I don't know. I could actually see that being very overpowered in a way. So it looks like what's happening is plasma just is best of both worlds. But it does a damage over time effect, but it also does the chain lightning effects. But it doesn't do either particularly well. So I think next time we go all in on one or the other. but it's hard to tell. I don't know. I think going back to what I was saying earlier about the unlock system, I think I'm going to stand by that, because I'd love to have a couple of, like, unique upgrades dedicated to lightning damage, or damage over time effects, or fire, or stuff like that, because that feels like it would have a lot of interesting potential. Base cooldown across the board now. Solar Pulse spell cooldown. Oh, so it is affected by cooldown. It's probably just the tick rate of the damage. I'd pick this up, but we're almost done. But I'm going to do it anyway. Whew. Threaded the needle on that. I do really appreciate that this has that kind of grazing effect from like a bullet hell game where you're able to like just barely scoot through damage. Yeah, let's just use our last couple levels upgrading this Moonerang. I want to see what it gets at level 18. If it does, there's always the possibility it gains nothing. Yeah, 20% gain, but like, what's the point? There isn't one. Okay, let's kind of hang back here. Let them bunch up a bunch, because there's no reason for me to really spread out too much. Okay, and 2 more levels and we can see what the final, presumably final evolution is. Unfortunately, it seems like all the evolutions are just purely elemental, which is good, but repetitive. How would I put it? I like the elemental combo system. I think that has a lot of potential. I think the main issue is it produces a feeling of, well, it lacks that feeling of variety that I think I'm specifically going to crave in this. In a lesser game with like longer but fewer runs, I think having less options like this is fine. But in Bullet Heavens, where the runs are maybe 20-30 minutes long tops, maybe they're a little bit longer than that. Having only a handful of like really unique options puts replayability down to a bare minimum. Maybe not a bare minimum. It's the same boss. I do recognize that this is not complete. That this is going to be going through early access, and also is going to be, well, it's not even out yet. Is the other one. And so it's still got some time in the oven before it comes out, and so can potentially get some more interesting upgrades. Okay, spell range. No 3rd tier evolution. So you can keep scaling up, but once you've hit level 12, you've functionally maxed out an ability. I think that's fine. I don't know. I think it is good, actually, just because you really don't want to... you don't really want to have players hyper-focusing on one weapon, because right now, like, looking at this, I've got my Magic Missile up to level 4, and my Aura up to level 4, and, you know, I'm not going to get those higher. I think that is actually an issue, and I would say I'd rather the enemies scale faster. Ooh, I'm gonna get... Nope, didn't get hit here. And we're done. I would actually like the player to scale faster to actually get some of those upgrades. Maybe. I don't think we actually got anything meaningful off of that one. Seems like there might be some other meta progression too. Oh, that's coming soon. That's why we can't do it yet. Let's see. So what do we want to invest in? Pickup radius is good. But I think I'm going to go for luck at this point. And I'm going to need 15 upgrades if I want to get the next tier. So that's going to be what? Maxing out 3.5? Really almost 4 of them. And that's going to get kind of expensive. But on the flip side, I think this is actually a good stopping point, at least for now. How would you describe it? I think it's a fine bullet heaven. I think that is actually a problem, though, if only from the perspective of there's a lot of fine bullet heavens out there, and it's very difficult to stand out if you are fine. I think the multiplayer element of this is actually going to be big, especially because it seems to be online multiplayer, so you can actually bring friends with you. And the friendly fire, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. But I do feel like it needs a much more substantive upgrade system. I think it's got a lot of good ideas. I'm going to throw a couple of them out there. Is one, I think once you've gotten a weapon to level 12, it's done. You can't get any more specific upgrades for it. However, I think after doing that, it should, all of its upgrades are now global. So get rid of all global, like, damage upgrades and stat upgrades and whatever, and have those unlocked specifically if you max out a weapon. And maybe even have them tied to the weapon as well. So, say you get the Moonerang up to maximum. Well, its global passive upgrades that come with it are range and maybe projectile speed, or and you can have some that are a little bit more generic, like damage and cooldown always show up. Once you've maxed one weapon, those go into the pool, but then after that, you know, it depends on the weapon. So maybe the Solar Circle or Necro Swirl, one of those gives AoE size. Maybe the Magic Missile, the Piercing Shot, actually gives piercing to all projectiles. And so you're incentivized to actually rush to maximum for some of these spells to unlock cool abilities. But then also, you know, if you unlock fire, all of a sudden you also have some extra fire abilities that show up in the upgrade pool as well. Having a dynamic upgrade pool, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be like the big thing that really changes this, but I think it would make it much more interesting, especially if there's very clear and easily understandable conditions for completing those. You get your dodge above 40%, it adds a couple of upgrades to the pool, rare ones that are like, hey, if you dodge an enemy attack, reflect the damage back at them, or immediately shoot them with a spell, or, you know, give you a short cooldown speed boost. Just something small like that here and there, where it's like, yeah, I went for a dodge build, I got this upgrade, and then I picked a bunch of other upgrades that kind of fit into this to make it absurd. That is the spirit of what makes roguelikes, and especially bullet heavens, fun, is the feeling of experimentation and variety. And that, while I think this has an incredibly solid foundation, it looks good, it plays well, the monsters are fun, the environments are reasonably interesting, and it has things to do, just maybe not enough. But it needs to crank things up even further to really stand out beyond what it is. And then I think it'd actually be pretty good. And I realize, like, I'm very much saying, like, you know, just turn the graphics up on level 3 to whatever. Like, I get that this is always a tall order, but it is also one of those where it is kind of necessary that the industry is choked to death with new cool games every single day. And that you have to do something exceptional to stand out. I think you can be okay and still stand out. But, like I said, there's a sea of okay games out there. And settling for just okay is probably bad. Maybe. And I want to see this one go a little bit further, because as far as bullet heavens go, like, I haven't played many of them lately. I think literally the last one I played was Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, because just all other new ones that have ended up in my inbox have just looked the same. And this is the first one that actually looks like it has some potential, and I want to see it go places. And I hope they take it there. But for now, at least, if you like this video in any way, shape, or form, leave me a like, helps more than you know. And if you want to see more rad new games every single day, then hit subscribe, because I got tons to check out and show off. But for now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.